I can't tell you how honored I am to be with Frank Marocco, truly one of my favorites, as I love Aliquippa. And the big news, Mike Warfield is coming back.
Yeah, I knew that.
I knew you knew that, but I have to ask.
Well, there's things that you have to keep private. And Warfield's a strong individual, Aliquippa kid. He took off a year. I never asked him why or where you've been. I just shake his hand, say, Coach, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. But I knew he was going to come back. I felt that he was coming back, and it was in the papers now. He's coming back. I think the kids are happy. I think the kids are happy. You know, when you're with somebody for so long, and you get a new transition comes in, sometimes that works, and sometimes it doesn't work. So a lot of people have been around here in the Valley. They've seen that happen.
So you've won state titles. So tomorrow on KDK, Coach John Core, the Avonworth Lopes at 1, and then at 7, Ryan Lehmeyer and Central Catholic, they go for the 6A title. What's it like playing for a state championship?
Well, you go to WPIL, you win a championship, and that's just their area. But when you go to a state championship, that means the whole state of Pennsylvania now is in your hands.
Right.
Now, what do? You win or you lose. That's the way it goes, win or lose. The guy I played against, they were a good football team, but we had a lot of complications set in between the two schools. A lot of bad. I do this and when you guys do this, and what is Aliquippa? What is the quip? He made all kind of stupid comments.
Allegations.
And we didn't say nothing. I mean, I never made a remark about him. I never talked about any coach except in a positive way.
Right.
Because when you say something bad, eventually it's going to come back and smack you in the face. And I believe that very strongly.
So do I.
So, but he was very common about what is a quip? You know, he's asking people, in the paper, what is a quip? You know, what is a quip? Well, he found out what a quip was. A quip is somebody that kicks your butt.
You can say ass, we're adults here. Holy mackerel. Let's talk about the University of Pittsburgh for a moment. I love Pitt. I was doing something earlier today, bragging on him, talking about Mr. Yarnell's going to go into the portal, so he's leaving. I don't know if Narduzzi's the answer. I don't know what the answer is, but I wanted to see the Panthers become relevant. All these teams getting into the football playoff, talking Penn State all the time. I want Pitt to be relevant again. That wasn't your school. It could have been. They wanted you. But a guy who graduated a few years later by the name of Mike Ditka went on to do some pretty good things there too. What does this program have to do to become relevant again? Or is it even possible with everything that's happening today?
Well, the biggest thing back when I was in school and before that was the money issue. There's a money issue. You know, people want to talk about it. I talk about it now because it was a money issue. I went to school at North Carolina State. The money issues, there were some things that I got that I'm not going to talk about, but up Pitt doesn't have that. Pitt never had people involved in that. Now, when Dorset went there,
I know.
I mean, there's a lot of things that
Doc Zernich and them, they wanted
exactly. So again, it's a money issue, but today they've changed things now. The kids that go into school today, they're making extra money. They're getting cars.
But what do you think about that? Look, it's the way the game is today, but they're saying that you need at least $20 million a year to be competitive.
Without a doubt, maybe more. The more you think about it, the more you sit there with a book, try to you can't figure it out. Mm-hmm. Every school's different. There's a school that recruits 50 kids. There's a school that returns 25, 30 kids. There's schools that get 60, 70 kids. It depends on what you're getting and what kind of a kid you're getting. Me, I was honest when I was in school, very honest. But then things worked out for me as a freshman, and then I made the varsity team, and it was a different atmosphere, but I liked it.
So recently, North Carolina State, Mac Brown's last game. I'm sure you still follow North Carolina State. What do you make of Bill Belichick interviewing for the North Carolina job? He's not going to go there.
No, I think it's a publicity stunt. Really, if he goes there, it'd be a miracle. But them schools down there are good schools. I like Carolina. But the best part about it, I went to North Carolina State. Never asked the question about what North Carolina State was about when I went there in 1955. So I got there. I was on campus with a kid named Joe Monahan. Joe Monahan was from Aliquippa.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe kind of like took me over and showed me around where things were. And so the next day we were supposed to go to recruit class, sign up for classes. And I told Joe, I said, in the cafeteria, we went to sit down to eat. And I said, Joe, I'm looking around. I don't see any girls here. And he looked at me and said, Frank, there is no girls here. I said, what are you talking about? He said, Frank, North Carolina State's an all-boys school. And I said, what the heck did I get myself involved in?
What the hell am I here for?
Yeah, what am I doing here? But things worked out because North Carolina State was in Raleigh, and there was 2 miles up there was Peace College, all-girls school, Rex Hospital, all-girls school, Peace College, all-girls school right around North Carolina State.
It worked.
So it worked out.
All right, so the reason I brought up Belichick, could you coach college today with players making the kind of money they're making? And I don't think he could either.
No. I think he did a smart thing by not taking the job. I'm sure that if he ever wants a job, he can get a job.
Yeah, definitely.
He can get a job. But to go from the first class down to third class, it doesn't make sense to me.
So back when you were at Aliquippa, obviously at Ambridge for a while as well, but we're going to focus on Aliquippa. We're here going to talk about Larry Bruno as well. Larry Bruno Foundation, magicalcoach.org. Please reach out, help out any way you can. This is an amazing foundation. Does incredible things. You grew up in the height of the steel industry. I mean, J&L was booming. There were jobs. Everything was good. Did you ever think that you'd see Aliquippa go from that? Obviously, Mayor Walker and them, they've done incredible things. They are going in the right direction. But there was a period there after that mill shut down that it was just flat out sad, as it was here in Beaver Falls, New Brighton. We all went through it. But did you ever think that mill would ever go away growing up in the 50s?
Not really. Not really at all. I lived right across the street from the blast furnace in Lockstown, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And
you ended
at night, you just open up the window blinds and it was there daylight in the house all day. We didn't have to worry about electricity. but J&L was a strong place. A lot of great people worked there. A lot of great athletes that didn't go to college worked there.
How's come you didn't go right into the mill?
Well, because when I graduated high school, I had a job at the mill. I was working there. I worked 3 months at the tin mill, as a tin mill.
Yeah.
And then contract coaches come, they want you to go to school. They want you to go to school. And then my coach, Carl Ashman,
right,
who was very strong in my life, he grabbed me one day. He says, "What the hell are you trying to prove?" And I said, "What are you talking about, Coach?" He said, "You got people that want you to go to college. You want to go to college? Or you want to stay here and make 3 cents when you be making $5? Back then."
Yeah.
And he kind of he was really aggravated with me. He actually grabbed me,
Get your attention.
Yeah, well, that's the way it was. And I listened to him. And then I started talking to coaches coming in and finally ended up going down to North Carolina State because Bill Schmaltz was there. And Bill Schmaltz was from Aliquippa. Ashman coached Bill Schmaltz. And we had Joe Monahan from Aliquippa down there. We had Peltz, a quarterback from Ambridge, who was down there. We had a bunch of guys from Western Pennsylvania starting to go down there the second year they're open. The second year the coaching staff was there, and we became friends. But it was a great school. I went there. I enjoyed going there. Once you get there, you enjoyed it.
Do you realize how much respect you have? Mike Warfield and I were exchanging text messages, and I mentioned your name, and he was just big thumbs up. And then I started thinking about all the players, the Laws, the Pudgy Abercrombies. I mean, some of the best ever to play in high school sports in the way of football here in Western Pennsylvania. But you still have such respect from so many people. That just must make you feel good.
Yeah, it does. It does make you feel good. The thing about me, number one, is the fact that I enjoy the kids that I had. And when I see them on the street, and it's going on today like it was 10 years ago, I see one of my kids on the street, it's not a handshake, it's a hug. That's where I am.
I get it.
I hug them and I tell them, how the hell are you? It's good to see you. Coach, it's so good to see you, blah, blah, blah. And that's the way it was. And I do it today. Now, whether they like it or not, I don't know.
They like
I really
it.
don't care.
Who wouldn't like it?
But that's me. That's me. Some coaches, they wear their diamond rings all on their fingers. You know, I'm Coach so-and-so. Don't you dare hug me. Don't you dare put that on me. But
I'm all about a hug, man.
I'm not that way. I'm not that way. I was brought up with love. We had 14 kids in my house, 14 kids in my family. And I was the last boy. And we all had that love.
Were you ever all under the roof at the same time? No.
What?
You guys all weren't under the roof at the same time. So
Yeah.
how many bedrooms?
3.5. We had five, 6 kids in the room. My older brother would go to work and I'd be in bed. And in the morning I'd be on the floor with a pillow or a pillow. You know.
What was Christmas like in that house?
Christmas was an enjoyable thing for me. The older kids took care of the younger kids.
Right.
You know, we never got nothing. My father was just a hard-working tombstone. He made tombstones for cemeteries.
Right.
He carved the names in. And we had a great time just being a family. If we got a lollipop for Christmas, I was happy. I didn't want no baby dolls or BB guns and things that people got. But I think that my father and my mom taught us a lot of love.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's where I'm at today.
All right, so let's finish and talk about the real reason we're here. MagicalCoach.org, Larry Bruno. When I say Larry Bruno to you, that's the guy who's always good to his word when it came to a handshake. Talk
great
about
friend
Larry
of mine.
Bruno.
Larry Bruno's a great friend. Larry, Lindy Laurel,
Newcastle.
Carl Flory. We used to go to Newcastle in the summertime. And on Friday nights, Friday we play, and Saturday we go up to the bar. Lindy Laurel had a big place up there, and we talk football. We had the pads out, pencils, write this down, write that down. I mean, and I enjoyed that. I really did enjoy that.
You were the kid.
Yeah. I was a kid. You're right. I was a kid, but I enjoyed it. I think I got a lot out of what they brought in me.
Listen, you got to tell the story. Steve Higgins, if he were here, and I know Bush wants me to have you tell it. He was sleight of hand, magic. That's why he's called the magical coach. But he asked you to check out
Joe Namath.
Yeah, so let's talk about this.
Joe Namath, we played on Friday, and Beaver Falls was playing on Saturday. So my coach, Carl Ashman, said, Frank, I can't go to the game because we're having a problem. And can you go down and scout Beaver Falls? I said, yeah, coach, I'll do that for you. He says, watch Joe Namath, the quarterback. I said, okay. So I went down, got my wife, and we went down. I said, you sit here, and I got paperwork to do, I'll give you some papers, you hold them. And I start writing down schedules and how the game starts. And Namath came on the field. And I heard about Namath. I heard people talking about Namath, but I never seen Namath play. The whole time that the game was being played, I never saw the football.
Ever.
And my wife said, why are you getting nervous? I said, Nance, I can't find the football. That guy is so damn good. He gets the ball, and this guy comes from fullback position. This guy comes from the halfback position. There's a fake here. There's a fake here. Where's the football? And pretty soon, that's Joe Namath.
Yep.
And I talk about that all the time. In fact, I was at a bank one time and I talked about Namath, and a guy said, he said, you're absolutely right for what you're saying. He said, I coached against him. And he said, you're absolutely right. Where was the football? I said, I could never tell where the football was. But Larry Bruno had a way of put the ball down, or I don't know the system he had. But
listen, it worked.
Did you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
If you can't find a football, you can't play football.
No, you can't.
And I have to tell the kids, well, I went to a game where I saw a quarterback. You guys better don't even show up. We'll give them a 2-0 game.
Here's the thing. There's always this argument. Could the great ones play in any era? So last night, I always cover the NFL at home in my studio, and we always do reports on it. Coons Market, Black and Gold Sunday Show, every single week, postseason and more. So I'm watching Jared Goff last night for Detroit and Jordan Love of the Packers. And even though the game's evolved and changed, you got Josh Jacobs, north-south runner, like a pudgy Abercrombie, strong, low to the ground. And you got Jared Goff, play action pass the whole time, and why that type of running back really works into deceiving, hiding the football, heading to the line of scrimmage, takes it out, basically has someone in front as an added blocker, goes downfield, whatever. Both of them were doing it with just reckless abandon last night, but it was just precise time and time again. It's 2024, and I was thinking about coming here today, thinking about Joe Namath. You have a healthy Joe Namath playing today, play action pass, alter the perception, misdirection. Can you imagine what he would have done today with two healthy knees in this league?
I can't even imagine. To me, Frank Marocco, I think he was the greatest that I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of great quarterbacks. I went to school with Roman Gabriel. Yeah. Roman Gabriel was a great athlete. 6'4", 235. But back then, Roman Gabriel had to play offense and defense. That was the system.
He played linebacker.
Yeah. I played inside linebacker. He played outside linebacker.
Was he any good on defense?
Yeah. Yeah. He liked to hit people. He liked to hit people.
He played both ways at NC State.
You had to. That was, now if you came out of the game in the first quarter, if you came out of the game, you weren't allowed back in the rest of the quarter. If I came out of the game first quarter with 8 minutes left to go, I had to wait 8 minutes to get back in the game. So now you got to get your best athletes playing offense, defense, punting team, kicking team, everything. Once you're out there, you never come out. You never come in. If you come out, you had to sit a whole quarter and wait. That was the rule they had. And so I think they recruited when they recruited athletes that could play offense and defense. They had to, because that was the only way to play.
I want to end on this note. I absolutely love Aliquippa. I'm at the Coons Market Hopewell store all the time, but I always make sure I drive down Franklin Avenue. I went to St. Titus for many years prior to the pandemic. I see so much good in that town, and the mayor and others doing so many incredible things. Why do you think I still love these towns? And I've been everywhere. Today I was up, in the South Hills of Pittsburgh, beautiful places. I mean, wonderful residential communities, thriving, businesses, schools with, hundreds of kids graduating every year. But I'm still drawn to Beaver County, to Beaver Falls, New Brighton, Elwood, of course, Lawrence County, Aliquippa, Ambridge. Why do you think I love these places so much? Still.
Well, you're like
I don't
me.
want to live anywhere else.
You don't want to live somewhere else.
No.
The mayor of Aliquippa, he played football for me. Him and his twin brother.
I know
they played football for me. They were good kids. And if they walked in this place right now, if that door opened and both of them came in, they would stop, Coach, and they would run over to hug me. I mean, that to me, that's worth $1 million. People say, yeah, that's worth to me. It's worth $1 million. I don't care what you do as a coach. I don't care what you say as a coach. It's me. These are my kids, and I don't forget them. I see them on the street today. You remember me, Coach? John Miller. I joined. You played guard for me back. They know right away. Coach, you remember? Yeah, I remember.
So here's the other thing. Anna Cara Christos, who has a styling salon in Aliquippa, is a good friend of mine. Her husband, Leo. We were talking about you the other night. I never realized, and I talked about this with you just recently, that your wife was a barber, which is an awesome profession. How in the world did she decide way back when? Now it's nothing, but when she did it, she was actually on What's My Line. It was very unique, and it's really a cool story. How did you decide to become a barber? Well,
my father-in-law had a barber shop downtown Aliquippa. He had 6 barbers in there.
Wow.
6 barber shop. It was as long as this. He had 6 chairs and 6 barbers working, and he taught my wife how to cut hair. And finally, he said, "You got the first chair up there by the window."
Wow!
And she said, "He said, you go to work now. Tomorrow morning, you get customers." Well, my wife said she was a very nervous person,
right?
Because my father-in-law was on the job man, yeah,
right.
On the job. So anyway, she started, and she became very good. In fact, she was on the program "What's My Line?"
Right.
I was playing in Raleigh, North Carolina at the time, playing in Florida, and I'm watching What's My Line? And she came on, and I said, "You guys, that's the girl who cuts my hair in Aliquippa." And that's the God's truth. And I said, "That's the girl that cuts my hair in Aliquippa. That's Frenzo's daughter." And Nancy, blah, blah, blah. But I ended up.
When did you ask her out? How much longer after that?
Well, I was married. I was married to a girl from Alcoa that I went steady with,
Right.
and got married senior year in college.
Right.
And my wife passed away, and I came back home, and I got a job.
Your first wife passed away too.
My first
I
wife
didn't
passed
know
away,
that.
and then I started working at my father-in-law. My wife's father had a fruit market downtown Alcoa, and so I worked there, helping him out. And it was right across from Nancy's barbershop. So I would go over to see Nancy get a haircut. You know, my wife, I didn't get a haircut, blah, blah. And before you know it, my father-in-law said to me one day, "Hey, stupid." I said, "What?" He said, "Why don't you take my daughter out?"
No kidding.
I said, "Dino, what are you talking about?" He said, "Take my daughter out. She wants to go with you." So I said, "Okay." So I asked her out. We went out. Before you know it, we ended up getting married.
Wow.
But that was a long time ago.
You remember the Pinella Fruit Market in Alcoa?
That's where I worked.
I know. That's why I brought it up. That was the one.
That was my father-in-law and the Pinella were partners.
Floyd and Dave.
But then my second wife just died. Nancy died.
Yeah.
She wasn't feeling good, and she said, "I'm going to bed." I said, "Okay, no problem." And she went to bed, never woke up.
How many years were you married to her?
Oh, 52.
Wow. You're amazing. You're one of my all-time favorites, and I can't thank you enough for doing this. So
thank you.
You have to admit, it went by so fast, did it not?
Yeah.
But nobody had the ride we had.
No.
This
you got to be happy. At 86, I'm happy.
Listen, you make me happy. I need a little Frank Marocco in my life. Don't forget, Larry Bruno Foundation, themagicalcoach.org.